A perfect man is not perfect until he perceives his essential unity with God. Every person is, in this sense, only a potential small world. The perfect man is an actual, living small world. Ibn Arabi. There is a silence before dawn. Not the silence of absence, but the silence that listens. It is in this space that Ibn Arabi's words descend like light upon still water. The heart trembles because somewhere within us we remember. You and I, my friend, have walked through many mornings, some filled with the weight of thoughts, others with the sweetness of prayer. But have you ever felt in the depth of your being that the universe itself was breathing through you? Ibn Arabi said that every human being is a microcosm, a small universe containing all realities in potential. But only one who awakens to the divine unity becomes the perfect man, Al-Insān al-Kāmil, the complete human through whom God beholds his own reflection. When I first read his words, I paused. How could a human be the mirror of the infinite? How could this fragile heart contain the ocean of being? And yet Ibn Arabi insists it is precisely through this fragility that the divine reveals its strength. He writes that God desired to be known, and so he created the cosmos as a mirror. But the mirror remained clouded until the form of the human was born, a being capable of knowing both the seen and the unseen. Man, he says, is the eye through which God sees himself. Do you feel the magnitude of that, my friend? You are not merely looking at creation. Creation is looking back through you. But most of us live as if asleep, dreaming that we are separate from what we behold. We measure, we compare, we fear, and in this doing, we forget that we are already home. We forget the sea while clinging to a single wave. Ibn Arabi reminds us, the perfect man does not destroy the self. He transforms it into a clear vessel of awareness. He becomes transparent to the real, not a drop lost in the ocean, but the ocean realizing itself in the form of a drop. Pause here for a moment. Take a breath. Close your eyes if you wish. Feel your own breath rise and fall. That motion, that tide within you, is not different from the pulse of the stars. Now ask yourself gently, who breathes me? Who moves this heart unseen? The Sufis say that God's breath, nafas al-Rahman, is the source of all existence. Everything you love, every tear, every flame, all of it is that breath unfolding. When Ibn Arabi speaks of Al-Insān al-Kāmil, he speaks of one who remembers this breath. He walks among people, but his heart dwells in the unseen. He laughs, he weeps, he eats and speaks, and yet in every action, he feels the infinite moving through him. He becomes, as Afifi explains, the preserver and guardian of the cosmos. As long as he exists, the universe continues. Think of that. The entire world upheld by a single realized heart. Such a being is not a myth. He is the potential of your own soul. He is the you that you have not yet dared to meet. In one of his mystical dialogues, Ibn Arabi describes this moment of realization. He says, "I saw my Lord through my heart, and I said, 'Who are you?' He answered, 'You.' This is not blasphemy, it is awakening. It is the unveiling of the truth that there is no duality between the light and the lamp. The flame that burns in your chest is the same flame that set the galaxies in motion. But tell me, friend, why do we resist this truth? Why do we cling to smallness? Perhaps because to know you are divine is to also know you are responsible. To realize that every act, every word, every thought is a ripple in the mirror of being. Ibn Arabi wrote that the perfect man reflects all divine names: mercy, justice, wisdom, beauty. All these attributes find their full harmony in him. He does not possess them, he embodies them. He becomes the balance through which God's mercy touches creation. But how does one reach such a state? Is it through prayer? Through knowledge? Through asceticism? He would say, through love. For love is the force that unites the one and the many. Love, he writes, is the origin of all existence. Without love, the world would return to silence. So begin there. Love what is near you, not with attachment, but with awareness. Love the breath that enters you, for it carries the fragrance of his nearness. Love the flaws, for they are openings where the light enters. Sometimes, when I walk at night, I look up at the sky and think of Ibn Arabi in Damascus, old, surrounded by manuscripts and silence. I imagine him gazing at the same stars, whispering to his disciples, "Every star you see is within you." He believed that the cosmos is a vast reflection of the human form, that within us lies every heaven and every earth. The prophet said, "He who knows himself knows his Lord." For Ibn Arabi, this was not metaphor, it was literal ontology. To know yourself truly is to see the real in its purest mirror. And yet, he warned, there is danger in this path. To claim unity without purification is illusion. The mirror must be polished until no trace of ego remains. He said, when the mirror is clear, the image disappears. Only the light remains. Can you feel that, friend? That trembling moment between disappearance and revelation? That is the birth of Al-Insān al-Kāmil within you. It is not the gaining of power, but the loss of pretense. Not the becoming of something new, but the remembering of what you have always been. Sometimes we imagine awakening as a thunderclap, a sudden light breaking the darkness. But often it is more like dawn, slow, tender, inevitable. The night resists, but the horizon does not care. The light simply rises. Let it rise in you. Do not chase it. Do not analyze it. Be still enough for it to find you. Ibn Arabi teaches that the perfect man is both the servant and the Lord. Servant because he submits to the divine will. Lord because through him that will is made manifest. He bows and he commands, not from pride, but from perfect harmony. There is a story, not from legend, but from truth, that once a disciple asked him, "Master, when does one know he has reached God?" Ibn Arabi smiled and said, "When you stop searching and realize that the seeker was never other than the sought." That silence that follows such words, that is where the heart begins to understand. Now, pause. Place your hand on your chest. Feel the rhythm beneath your palm. That is the same rhythm that moves every being. The same rhythm that once said be, and it was. The perfect man lives with that remembrance in every breath. He does not escape the world. He redeems it through his seeing. He walks through the market and the mosque alike, his eyes turned inward, his heart turned upward. Sometimes he speaks,
Sometimes he is silent, but even his silence teaches. For as Ibn Arabi said, the words of the saints are but shadows of their states. There is a saying in the Masnavi of Rumi, the mirror of the heart must be clear, so that you may behold in it the image of images. And Ibn Arabi, in his quiet certainty, lived this truth not as poetry, but as existence itself. For him, the perfect man was not a mythic figure far away. He was the destiny of every soul that dares to awaken. When you begin to see through the veil of forms, you start to sense a subtle movement in all things. The wind through the trees, the laughter of a child, the sorrow that passes like a shadow through your heart. All of them are signs of the one who never ceases to speak. He wrote that the entire cosmos is a divine book, and every being is a letter written in the ink of his mercy. The perfect man, Al-Insān al-Kāmil, is the one who reads this book with both eyes, the eye of reason and the eye of unveiling. He sees the hidden meaning beneath appearances. He hears the silence beneath sound. Do you hear it now, friend? Between my words, between your breaths, that subtle whisper that says, I am closer to you than your jugular vein. Yes, that closeness, that unspoken intimacy between creator and creation. The Quran speaks of it. Ibn Arabi unveils it. For him, there is no distance, only degrees of remembrance. He says that all beings are manifestations of divine names. Every soul reflects a unique combination of those names, and yet none of us contains them all. Only the perfect man gathers every name in perfect balance. He is mercy and majesty, beauty and power, knowledge and mystery, all harmonized in one human form.
In him, God's attributes find their unity again. He becomes the isthmus, the bridge between the infinite and the finite. Through him, heaven and earth kiss. Through him, the divine remembers himself in time. When I reflect on this, something in me softens, because I realize we are not called to become gods, we are called to become mirrors. And a mirror is only perfect when it disappears. There is a strange peace in that disappearance. The ego trembles at the thought of vanishing, but what if the vanishing is the beginning of true existence? Ibn Arabi would say yes, for to die before you die is to live beyond death. He called it fana, annihilation in the real, and beyond it, baqa, subsistence in God. It is not a loss, but a transformation, like ice melting into water, water into vapor. Each form passes, but the essence remains. The perfect man has traversed both states. He has died to illusion and been reborn in truth. He no longer says, I love God. He says, I am the love through which God loves himself. Pause again. Let that echo in your chest. You are not separate from the beloved you seek. Every longing you have ever felt is the beloved calling you back to his own heart. When Rumi whirled, when Yunus sang, when Hallaj cried, Anal Haq, they were not claiming divinity, they were drowning in it. Their words were the overflow of recognition, like a drop realizing it has never been other than the sea. Ibn Arabi described this moment of realization as ta'ayyun, the self's unveiling within the divine reality. And the perfect man is the full flowering of that unveiling. He does not escape creation, he completes it.
He stands as the meaning of existence made flesh. Afifi writes that for Ibn Arabi, man is the preserver of the cosmos, for without him, the divine purpose of self-manifestation would remain incomplete. Think of that. The universe itself yearns for your awakening. It awaits the moment you see through its veil and whisper, "Yes, I remember." And when that remembrance comes, the world changes. Not outside, but within you. The same trees, the same faces, the same pain, yet everything glows from the inside. You see mercy in what once felt cruel, beauty in what once felt broken. You begin to live in harmony with what is. This is not detachment, it is intimacy. The perfect man is not an ascetic who flees the world, but a lover who embraces it in God. He sees the real in every form, and so he rejects nothing. He becomes the mercy that holds even shadows in its light.
There is a verse from the Quran that Ibn Arabi loved to quote: "Whithersoever you turn, there is the face of God." That is the gaze of Al-Insān al-Kāmil. He turns, and every direction is prayer. Every act becomes remembrance. Every moment becomes eternity unfolding in time. You might wonder, how do we approach such realization? Is it only for saints and prophets? Ibn Arabi would smile gently and say, "No, it is the secret of your own being. It only waits for your surrender." Surrender not to a distant power, but to the presence already breathing through you, to the knowing that you have never been apart. Try this. In this very moment, release the idea of me and you. Just breathe. Let the breath enter without name, without owner. For a heartbeat, allow the boundaries to fade. That stillness you touch, that is what he called wahdat al-wujūd, the unity of being. It is not an idea, it is the truth behind every idea. And when you glimpse it, even for an instant, the entire world becomes a verse of praise. The Sufis say that when the heart awakens, it begins to see with two eyes, one that beholds multiplicity and one that beholds unity. To live with both open is the perfection of vision. The perfect man lives with both eyes awake. He does not deny the world, he sanctifies it. He finds God in laughter and in tears, in the marketplace and in the mosque, in the dust and in the stars. Once, Ibn Arabi wrote that the Prophet Muhammad is the supreme example of the perfect man, the mirror that reflects all divine names without distortion. He called him the seal of sainthood, through whom the circle of manifestation is completed. But he also said, every saint inherits from a name of God, and thus, within every human heart lies a spark of that Muhammadan reality. Your task, friend, is to discover which name seeks expression through you. Perhaps it is beauty, perhaps it is knowledge, perhaps it is patience. Whichever it is, let it ripen, let it guide your being until the fragrance of your soul joins the great perfume of existence. In that way, step by step, you walk the same path
as all the lovers before you, not upward to the sky, but inward to the heart. And there you will find the face that has never left you. Now, take another breath. Let it be slower this time. Feel how the breath enters as gift, leaves as surrender. This is prayer without words. This is remembrance without effort.
Ibn Arabi said that true worship is not in form, but in awareness. It is to see the divine in every act. When you eat, when you speak, when you smile, He is the doer and the done. And when this realization blossoms fully, the human becomes the axis of creation, a living mihrab through which the cosmos turns toward its Lord. That, my friend, is Al-Insān al-Kāmil, not a distant saint, but the secret within you. He is waiting behind your thoughts, behind your fears, behind the story you tell yourself every day. And when at last you turn inward and say, "Show me who I truly am," a voice will answer softly, "I have always been here." Now, before we end, I want you to try something. Close your eyes. Feel the pulse beneath your hand. Whisper quietly, "I am His mirror." Let that truth settle in your chest. You don't need to believe it. Just feel its possibility. This is where the path begins, not in knowledge, but in remembrance. Not in reaching somewhere far, but in awakening where you already are. So if this journey touched your heart tonight, leave a sign, a heart, a word, a breath, because this path is walked together. And if you feel that call, write in the comments, "The journey of love continues." Until we meet again, walk gently, breathe deeply, and remember, you are not apart from the one you seek. You are the mirror in which He beholds His own beauty. And that, dear friend, is the secret of Al-Insān al-Kāmil.